Okay, today we're going to go over how to manage your sidebar on your Piggyback blog. Now, the sidebar area, if you're unsure of where it is and what it does and why it's called that or anything like that, this section over here, this is your sidebar. Now, some pages can decide that it doesn't want to display it, or you can have it, do lots of different fun things. In the past, we've talked about some plugins called Jetpack and Gravity Forms, and those also have the ability to put things called widgets. Widgets are the things that show up on your sidebar into your sidebar. So there's a lot of controls. Now, if you're in the basic version of our Piggyback blog theme, you're not going to have access to the section that's called Appearance. And that is where your sidebar is able to be controlled. So if you have this screen where you see the big buttons, just go ahead and click where it says Basic, and it'll go over to the default theme. Okay, so you will find your sidebar options under the section called Appearance, Widgets. Inside here, you are presented with a bunch of options. More and more options if you have more plugins activated. So I have Jetpack going, I've got Gravity Forms going, I've got, a couple of other things. But, I mean, you can tell which ones are, like Jetpack, it says it has Jetpack written beside it. So let's just go over some of the options inside here that I think are beneficial. Now, if there are any widgets over here in this available widget area, you can add them to your sidebar. Your sidebar 1 over here shows you all the options that are already there. So any of these sections are drag and drop. You can reorder them. It's really easy. And you can change the sections, change the titles of those that show up at the top of those areas. So like I have a custom menu in here. I have, my archives, which shows like all the months and years that I have actually created blog posts. There's categories. There's meta. Meta I like to keep there just because it's easy to remember how to log in that way. There's a lot of options that you can do inside of each one of those. So let me just open up our blog as well at the same time so that we can look at both of them. So right now we have a section here that says search. We have the subscribe widget, which is the section that you get from Jetpack. There's our recent post, which is kind of a standard thing that's on like all sidebars. Recent comments, which is something I try to remove on every one that I see, because just because you have, just because you've gotten comments or just because you don't have comments doesn't necessarily reflect whether or not you have a successful blog. Then you have archives here, like I was just mentioning, where it shows all the times that I have posted to this blog. The meta has an area where you're able to log into the site, go to the RSS, which is kind of a feed of when things are updated in the blog. And this contact form here is from the Gravity Forms plugin. So if you wanted to, let's just clear everything out and start over. And if you want to delete anything that's already in your sidebar, it's very easy. You just click the drop down, all your options will come up, and then there's a delete button for each and every one of them. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're deleting it, because the option to put that back is still over here. The only one that I'd be concerned about just straight up deleting would be any of the ones that you've done as a text. And some people who are tech savvy or code savvy like to use text to be able to add in like photos and things like that really easily, and they have like code control over them. All right, let's just go over it one by one. We may not get through all of them, or I may not know enough about each one of them to be able to tell you everything. But I subscribe to the kind of learning of just clicking something and seeing what happens. That's how I've learned almost everything that comes to, WordPress. I just learn by trial and error. So the Kismet widget, you're never going to use this in your widget sidebar. What it does is it tells you how much spam was blocked on your website. Now, I guess that would probably be really cool if you had a really tech-savvy website and you want to show how many people try to spam your site or something. But other than that, most people aren't going to, see a need in adding an Akismet widget to their sidebar. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. Archives. Like I said, archives, what it does is it allows for your all of your list of times that you've created blog posts to show up. So here you go. And at that point, people would be able to click over here and see everything that was posted in September, or everything that was posted in January, everything that was posted in October, things like that. Really useful if someone's looking for something specific from a specific month. But other than that, I can't imagine people utilizing as much as some of the other ones. So with blog subscriptions, what that does, this is an option that's available through Jetpack. So you will have to activate Jetpack in order to be able to have this. It allows your users to be able to subscribe to your blog. And by that, that means that anytime you post a new blog post, they will receive an email that will give them a snippet of your new blog post, and they'll be able to click it and go straight to read all of it. I'm a fan of this. I think it's great. I've shown it to multiple clients because it's really nice to give your users or your clients or your potential clients an idea of when you're active. So people would just be able to go in here, write their email address, and click subscribe. Simple as that. So let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. The next one would be the calendar. And this is a lot like archive, but it displays a little bit differently. It shows all your blog posts that you've done in the past, but it shows them in a calendar form. So if someone's looking for a blog post that was written on a specific day, it's a little bit easier for them to find it. So if we go backwards, see November 2014, January 2015, I have one post on the 13th. Probably not the best widget to use if you don't post a lot, or because it kind of shows like, all right, I went three weeks or 4 weeks without creating a blog post. It's not nice to see. Next would be categories. Categories are something that you're able to manage your posts with. If you look under posts, you'll see the area called categories. Inside there, you're able to make your posts, I guess is the best way to put it, sortable. If you're writing about a specific community, or let's say you're writing about 3 different communities on a regular basis, but you want people to be able to find all those blog posts regarding that one community, and then they would have the option to be able to click that one community and go see all those blog posts. But you do have to tag those posts as that category. So let me just open up my post real quick so you can see where categories are. Let me go into my lake property search thing I made. Your categories area is over here. So you're automatically given a category called blog, and that is your default category. So if you haven't created one and added one in there, then everything goes underneath the blog category. So I have one that's called Baldwin Park. I'm going to go ahead and just save that one under buyer tips. Just change things up and refresh this page because we have that categories widget in our sidebar now. So I have Baldwin Park, blog, buyer's tips, seller's tips available as categories. I can click on buyer's tips and I can see any of the blog posts that I deemed as buyer tips. So it'd be something that you could also use as a link in your menu as well. just take a look at the URL at the top. It'll say category, buyers dash tips, based off of the name that you gave the category. Okay. And you can give it a couple of different options. Meaning you can do this as a display. You can show how many posts there are for each. So you can see the difference. Let's go ahead and reload the page. See, now it says a category. The categories is a drop down, and you can see how many are in each. So that's kind of nice to be able to change things up a little bit. Next one is a custom menu. I've shown this to a couple of people because I think it's really nice whenever you're adding in community pages and you want people to be able to go into one and see something completely different on the side that would allow you to go to a certain number of pages. So menus are controlled in a different area. If you have an e-agency website with us, your top menu is controlled by your e-agency website. So it's not that menu that I'm talking about. It's a different one, and it will be showing up in our sidebar right here. So let's just make a menu really quick, and that's under Appearance, Menus. Okay, so here is our menu options. So if I wanted to make a menu called Community, I'll click Save. Or you can make a new one up here where it says Edit Your Menu Below or Create a New Menu. And then you are given a blank slate just to give it a name. And click Create Menu. And then you're able to add in any of the pages to the side. So if we wanted to add all of them, and then they add them. And they're drag and droppable. You can indent them so that you can create a hierarchy. You can add in specific links that you want, and you can add in categories. Right now, I'm just going to leave it like this so that we can take a look at it. Okay, so back to our sidebar. If we wanted to add in that custom menu, then it gives us the option here to go select menu, and we're going to grab community and click save. We can reload this page and see, well, I guess I didn't save the other one. Save menu. There we go, save. That's the one I wanted. There you go. So here's our menu. Now that could be useful depending on how you're wanting to use it. There are options as to where and when you want a specific widget to show on your sidebar, and I'll get to that around the end. But that's something that becomes available with the Jetpack plugin. Okay. Next one is going to display WordPress posts. It says displays a list of recent posts from another WordPress.com or Jetpack enabled blog. Now, a lot of people will ask if they can RSS another blog into their Piggyback blog, and this would be the only way you would be able to do it, but it would have to be a WordPress.com or Jetpack enabled blog, meaning it's another WordPress install with Jetpack enabled on it, that plugin that's available up here that I have going. So let's just look at it. I know that this won't apply to most people, but if I have a WordPress Jetpack enabled blog, I can't think of one to be able to try in here. But what it would do is it would automatically pull 5 posts. I can choose whether or not it would pull an image with it or whether or not it would show the excerpts. If I didn't click either of those options, it would just show the title of that blog post. Next would be the Facebook activity feed. Now, whenever you're selecting this, you'll notice that there are a lot of options inside here. in order for your information to show, you have to fill in this information properly. I know there's another one, yeah, the Facebook like box will also pull in your Facebook activity. Let's see if the options that I have in there right now will allow us to use it. If not, it will give us an error. Yep, it's giving me nothing. So let me just quickly grab our Brandco URL, facebook.com/hello brandco. Save. So let's try this again and see if it pulls in some info for us. Nope. So I'll actually have to look into that. I don't know why it's not pulling in the info. It does say that it needs a domain URI, which usually means it needs something specific from Facebook. But the Facebook like box is really nice from Jetpack. But it does need the URL, and it's only going to work with actual pages, meaning it won't work with your personal profile that you have. So if we reload, it's waiting for it to show up. So then we have our like box here. Looks like we could take up a little bit more room if we wanted. Looks like it's currently 200 wide. We probably can go 300. There we go. And you can change the width as well as the height. So it depends on how you want it to be displayed. If we want it to show dark, that option is in there as well. All right, so next is the form. And form is available because we have Gravity Forms available. We've activated that plugin and it's live on our site, so we're able to add in any forms that we've created inside of that Gravity Forms plugin, which I've created one called Form Title and one called Quick Contact. And we did discuss how to create those lead capture forms, I believe, last week. And that will be coming up again at a later date again. I believe I'll go back into lead capture forms on October 23rd. 28th, actually. So inside here, you're able to say, this is my form, and you can select the form that you want to use. So I'm going to use Quick Contact, and you can choose if you want to display the title or if you want to display the description. And there are some advanced options as well, however, not necessary to even be played with. Click Save. Let's load it and take a look. And this is it. People are able to come in here, fill this out, and click Submit, and you'll be emailed their information. So I'm going to move this. I'm going to get rid of some of the other ones too. All right, let's go over some of the other ones I just tell people on a regular basis to utilize. I was asked recently about including a gallery style or a slideshow in the sidebar or be able to add it anywhere. Jetpack does have that ability through a section called Gallery. If we click that and put it in there, you can choose the specific images that you want to show. It looks like it automatically takes you to a gallery, so don't be confused. Just click over here where it says Add to Gallery and go ahead and click some images to add and insert the gallery. You can carousel it. You can do the slideshow specifically. All those options are available inside of Jetpack for you if you have that enabled. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. And this is our gallery. Another important one that people have asked about are the ones within Wolfnet. Now, if you don't have an active Wolfnet plugin, then these, if you add these to your sidebar, they will not do anything. They'll give you an error. So you have to make sure that you have an active WordPress plugin product key, which means that you'll have a green check mark inside of Wolfnet General Settings. The ones that are available from Wolfnet are going to be the featured listing scroll area, the Wolfnet listing grid, the property list, and the Wolfnet quick search. Now, all of these have multiple options. Let me get rid of some of these things so we only talk Wolfnet widgets for a second. So this is featured listings. We can do scroll control because this will kind of fly by if we don't make any kind of changes. Sometimes you can change the animation speed here. You can do agent or just broker, and you can decide how many specific results that you want to show. So let's click save, and let me close that one. So Wolfnet listing grid, you can decide if you want to use basic or advanced. This is just like when you click the paw print inside of creating a post or a page, and already clicking the section that says listing grid. So if you have a saved search, you can click it there. You can decide whether or not you want the map. Now, inside here, I would never say to utilize 50 results. That's a lot for putting inside of a sidebar. So let's just do 5, mostly because I'm just showing you how to utilize these extra resources that you have. All right, so property list is the same as property grid, but property list is a list of the addresses rather than showing you the pictures of the images of the homes. So let's just do 5 of these as well, and this time we'll put the map below. And save that one. And the last one is your quick search. You can decide if you wanted to do basic or legacy. So let's just do one of each so you can see the difference. All right, let's load the page so you can see all these Wolfnet widgets in action. All right, so see how kind of crazy our scroll bar can get if we don't change our settings? Or you can put it on manual even, so people have to click the arrows to go. But this is all featured listings that are coming up with your agent ID or your office ID. Below that is your listing grid, and that's going to show your property photos. That's 5 of them, and we opted for our map to show and for it to show above. So that's what it's showing here as well. Below that is our property list. So you can see our 5 properties showing here. People were able to click on them, and we opted for our map actually, to show below. Now, we could have decided to have not used the map altogether, so that's an option, or using just the map. There's a lot of options inside of these plugins. Then you have our 2 options for the quick search, which look exactly the same on the sidebar apparently. So that's good to know. It doesn't matter if you click basic or legacy when it comes to your sidebar widget, you're going to get the same search criteria for your users to be able to use. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. Are there any other things that you would imagine yourself using inside of your sidebar on your blog that you'd like for me to explore? You can go ahead and ask your questions, and I'll just keep playing with things over here. There's a section in here that I like called Top Posts and Pages inside of Jetpack. And what that does is it looks to see which of your posts or pages have been visited the most often. And that lets your users be like, oh, so that's the most popular thing in your blog. Cool, I'm going to go check that out. And of course, that's just going to continue making that section more and more popular. And of course, this is my demo Piggyback blog, so nobody visits anything. Um, Let me get rid of this. Your SRP. SRP stands for Simple Real Estate Pack, and this package allows you to have these buttons here, these first 5 buttons come through from that Simple Real Estate Pack. And they also give you the ability to be able to use these 3 widgets within your sidebar as well. So there's an affordability calculator, a closing cost estimator, and a mortgage calculator that you can add to your sidebar as well. Let's see how they show up. All right, so you have all these calculators that your users can use to calculate how well or how badly they're going to be able to afford something. Um, you can add in Google Maps. Let's see. Oh, these are for maps that you have added inside of creating a post, and that would be this button right here. Any of the maps that you added inside of here. Oh, I guess I didn't save it. Hold on. I don't know why the map isn't showing. Use this map. Show map. Do we still have no questions? I mean, you can ask me a question that doesn't have to do with the sidebar specifically if you want. If if there's something that you've been meaning to ask questions about, then, you know, now's a good time. Somebody else may have the same question, just not willing to ask it. A tag cloud. Now, if you're not using any tags inside of your blog posts, which I don't usually recommend for anyone, then the tag cloud isn't going to do anything. Then the other one that I'm really wanting to go through would be text. Text allows you to do a lot of different things, but you kind of have to know code to do it unless you want to just add text to it. So if you just wanted to tell someone, like if you wanted to add a quote to your website or something, so let's see. What's a good one? So if we leave it at that and click Save, then you'll see the option show up here. Now, inside that area, you can go through and add in um, specific code in order to do other things. So let's say, let me go look at my library, my photo library. So if I go into Home 2 that I've added before, then this is the URL for my image. So I'm going to copy it. If I wanted to show this image in this sidebar, I would just do some code. Now, I don't expect people to follow this section the whole way through. I just wanted to show you, like, some people have little widgets from Yelp or from Trulia, and they want to show it inside their site. This is a great option for you. You can add it in. See, I just added that image in that way. And I would love to help you out with that if you want help with it. I do schedule appointments on a regular basis. All right, Aaron had a question. Do we have the option to activate Jetpack? Yes, you do. If you want to activate Jetpack, all you have to do is go under the section called Plugins. Under plugins, you'll see a number of different things in there. However, you're only going to need the one that says Jetpack or really Gravity Forms on top of that. But there will be a section underneath there that says Activate for that specific plugin. When you're activating Jetpack, there will be a button that comes up at the top of the screen after you've clicked Activate. At that time, you're going to have to click that big green button that shows up, and it's going to take you to go log into WordPress. Whenever it says log into WordPress, it does not mean your Piggyback blog logins. It means any logins that you've used with WordPress.com. If you've never used WordPress.com, go ahead and set up a new account and you'll be good to go. If you have used WordPress.com, try those logins that you remember or the ones you think you remember. If not, just go ahead and create a new one. I do have a tutorial for it. If you go to youtube.com/hellobrandco, you'll see all of our tutorials and previous webinars that we've recorded. If you go under Piggyback blog tutorials, there's one in here specifically on activating and utilizing Jetpack. Not full on like everything Jetpack has that it can do, but how to hook up the social media side of it. And then we have a webinar that I did back on September 2nd, specifically all about Jetpack that's available for you to be able to watch. Karen asked, I know that blogging will raise you to the top of search engines on Google, etc. Is there something special we need to do to optimize this, or does it happen automatically? Well, Karen, the question is that, search engines care about the content. So the more you write in your blog about the things that you're wanting to be found for, the better you're going to do in search engines. Now there's like that extra thing that you can do as far as like the gravy on top that can help increase that, but mostly it's just increasing like the ability for you to get someone to click on your blog post or page. And that's all pretty much controlled inside of the SEO Yoast widget. That's a lot of that extra fun free stuff that's already in there. And I did a webinar specifically about SEO Yoast back on September 9th, and we'll be exploring it again probably the week following October 28th. So probably in November I'll explore SEO Yoast again. But I do have a lot of tutorials that you can utilize from our actual channel here at Hello Brand Co. That SEO area, let's see. The thing that I'm trying to say is whenever it comes to changing like your meta description and things like that, it's just kind of like how you're advertising your content on search engines, so you're more likely to get someone to click on it. And that's your meta title and your meta description. And like Google looks at all these things as well as all of that content. So the more often, like let's say you want to get found for Orlando, Florida, then you need to be writing about Orlando, Florida and adding the word Orlando, Florida or Orlando, Florida real estate or homes for sale in Orlando in as much as possible. However, don't make it to where your content reads like you're trying to appeal to the search engines. You want to appeal to your actual readers more so than the search engines because they know when you're trying to play the system. So I hope that helps, Karen. Do we have any other questions? All right. Well, we'll just go over the agenda for these upcoming webinars that I'll be running for the next couple of weeks. Next week, I'm going to get back to the basics again. I have had a couple of people feel a little bit overwhelmed about the topics we've been covering, so I'm going to get back to the basics. October 7th will be the basics of using your Piggyback blog again, how to blog, how to create pages, things like that, adding photos, galleries. Then the week after that, On October 14th, we'll be going over Jetpack in full again. I get a lot of questions regarding that plugin, and it's a super awesome plugin, and everybody should be utilizing it. The week following that, we're going to go over bringing your e-agency pages to your Piggyback blog again. It's very important that we start moving as much content as possible from our e-agency to our Piggyback blog so that we can save it and have it ready to go and more easily transportable whenever my KW sites and Placer sites or whatever come into action. And then October 28th, we'll be doing a webinar about creating lead capture forms with the Gravity Forms plugin again. I do know that some of these are going to be revisited topics, but some people like to be available for the actual webinars rather than watching through the videos, which is totally fine. I like to record them so for the people that aren't able to join us. But sometimes it's easier to have one-on-one time. That also brings up the option that if you ever have a question that you want answered and you want to see how I'm doing it, we can always schedule time. I can remote into your computer. I can show you my computer. I can walk you through it step by step. Either way, it all works out. On the message that you received, the announcement for this webinar on, there is a link at the top. Actually, there's 4 links. One link goes to all of our Piggyback blog tutorials. Another one goes to all of our previous webinars. Another one goes to scheduling an appointment with me. So there are a lot of options for me to reach out and help you, and I want to make sure that you're blogging as much as you can and that all your questions are answered. I don't want you to be overwhelmed, so if you ever feel that way, reach out to me and let me help you. For that, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this webinar, and if you have any questions, I'm always available. Send me an email, schedule an appointment. All the links to be able to do so are in the announcement for this webinar. All right, well, everybody have a great day, and thank you for attending.